Hi, this is Asha Saxena for Intelligent Luxury. Welcome to the show.
And I'm Julie Faupel, Asha's co-host. Welcome. Welcome right back.
You have to stop making me laugh.
Because I'm funny,
I
Asha.
know.
That's like that is what I bring to this whole
Oh my
thing.
God, okay, I know.
You're the brains of the operation, and I am the funny sister.
I know, you really are.
Yeah. When you and I met,
Yes.
we were immediately friends. The more we got to know each other, the more our thinking was so aligned in terms of this being such a pivotal time in both data and technology and everything that you work in, and luxury and kind of lifestyle and everything that is my discipline. We're in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we're in this beautiful facility, and the fact that you came in for an event being hosted by Realm, real estate and technology has not necessarily been something that has gone hand in hand historically, but it's such an act of friendship, and I think what you're seeing is there's so much curiosity around what you're doing and how it is innovating aspects of our lives that we never even anticipated.
Absolutely. But I also have to tell you, the reason I'm doing it because I love you so much. And I think that's what the world needs now. We have AI, we have machines, we have programs, and we have so much data. But what really matters at the end is the relationship. It's the human connection. I'm super excited about this podcast. The audience will enjoy so much because we are going to have fun while doing it.
It's always fun with you, Asha.
Thank you, everyone. And please continue watching because we're going to have guests who come from all around the world and going to talk about luxury in real estate.
We have a lot to look forward to.
Looking forward to it. Hello, this is Asha Saxena for Intelligent Luxury. I'm here with Tony Sargent from New York. I love New York. And we are here to talk about everything to do with intelligent luxury. What's going on in the world of artificial intelligence, what's going on in the world of real estate, and what's going on in the world of luxury. So with that, Tony, tell us a little bit about your background first before we jump in.
All right, so I grew up in Switzerland, Kenya, Norway, England until I was 18.
God.
I have a British passport, actually.
That's amazing.
So Armenian background. My parents grew up in Kenya, Ethiopia, and Lebanon.
Oh my
so
God.
By the time I was 5, our house was surrounded with people that spoke different accents, different languages.
That's amazing.
My mom would have like a conversation in 3 languages with her family. So as a kid, I would say I speak 5 languages, but the 6th language is people. And that's partly why I'm in real estate.
Oh my God, I love that. I'm going to use that. 6th language people,
Yeah.
love it. And I think in this world of everything becoming artificial intelligence, talking about digital human. In fact, I wrote my 3rd book came out called Digital Human Advantage.
Okay.
And I talk about how you can use agents, which is digital human co-workers, to your advantage. But going back to the basics, people, I think is so important. It's a relationship. It's really understanding people, I think, is critical.
It's that's the unsaid thing, right? Because there's obviously artificial intelligence can bring in and they're understanding us, right? Artificial intelligence understand us because of all of our clicks, all of our likes, our dislikes, what we're sharing. Like I find myself probably oversharing with AI as much as I am with people.
Yes.
So I understand how that is actually translating into knowledge for those who use it. And there's benefits to that, but I also think in the end, people want to deal with people, especially in big moments of their lives. And when it comes to real estate, it's really, people are in transition in their lives, is what I would say. They're something big is happening in their life if they're making a purchase or sale. But in just generally in life, I think life really is about how do you meet someone not just with technology or answers, but our humanity. And I think that's one of the things that's so important right now that might be missing a little bit is I think we've all gotten so dependent on our phones for communication that we're forgetting the face-to-face, but more heart-to-heart.
I love that. They say that artificial intelligence is going to automate a lot of tasks, manual tasks.
Yep.
And I think that's the best part about having, AI as an agentic AI or having digital human in your workplace because they're going to do all the manual work.
Yep.
They can automate your listing and make it better and scan your CRM and find the right match. But to be able to position the right match and be able to give that sensitive information that might not be able to be accessible on internet is something that you bring to the table.
Yes, and I think really to your point, right, when we look at how technology has moved forward, we look at the industrial age, we look at the next generation, the
Yes.
50s and all the automation into the 60s and 80s, right, and how you go back to other cultures where things are still done manually.
Yes.
And then you get to the Western world where everybody is sort of technologically using, everything has
Savvy.
moved forward,
Yeah.
where people have been removed from the process. Yesterday I was renting a car, and there were 5 people standing upstairs with no work, and there was one person in the office downstairs where you pick up the car with work.
I know.
And yet, when I had a problem, they didn't know how to deal with the issue. And I was like, okay, wait, do you realize the app is taking over everything?
Yes.
But now how do you come with learning, and how do you come with support, and how do you come with advisory? And if your thought process is you just sit and watch the process, then you're out eventually. And I think
That's true.
that's the other thing, is whether, I work in luxury real estate, so to me it's at that level, people are used to hiring experts, and they're used to trusting the people they hire.
Yeah.
And so what you're delivering is really a value proposition that's much more than just a widget, right? I always say if you are just being a widget to your clients or treat them as widgets, then you're
Replaceable.
you're replaceable, or your cost is replaceable.
Yeah.
Because it's just what's the lowest cost. But when
Right.
you bring an added value, that's, I think, ultimately what
Yeah.
people pay for.
Being in AI now for the last 5 years since ChatGPT came out, everybody's asking questions about what's going to happen to the industry, what's going to happen to the roles. I teach at Columbia University, and a lot of my students will ask me, what will happen to the job market? Are we going to get the job? So people
Yeah.
are worried truly about,
Right.
because AI will replace people.
Yeah.
But the people who know how to use AI are the ones who are replacing these people who don't use AI.
I couldn't agree more, and I think what's happening is things are moving so fast that it's interesting that you're saying the people that you're meeting with or teaching at Columbia University, who I would assume are younger,
Yes.
are feeling that fear because they're already seeing people in their age group maybe 3 years later that haven't been able to find a job.
Exactly.
And I think this is where so much fear comes from, right? Because, I'm of an age now where I can look back on different decades and I can see how this business has changed every 5 to 7 years. And I try to
True.
even say to my nephew, understand that what you're collecting today is a toolbox
Yes.
of education, of knowledge, of tools that you can use in any field. And that you have to remember today, you're not in the world of go get a job and get security, but build a platform upon which you can market yourself in whatever area it is. And certainly there's areas that have expertise, but if we're in the service industry, it's knowledge. And knowledge, I think, ultimately trumps everything. And so AI becomes the tool that we use to get the knowledge. But even I used to be a financial analyst when I came out of college. I can tell you today that job probably would be AI, right?
Yes.
But it's looking at the data and understanding what is the data, what does it mean, how do you extrapolate that data and then provide value to each person that you're talking to.
Right.
And that's where the understanding of the client becomes really important, because who are you talking to, what are their needs, what are their specific needs, and then how do you answer that in a way that is answering both a financial question, an emotional question, and the other big piece of our business is real estate, regardless of level, is the therapy part, right?
Yes.
It's understanding relationships. You're looking at a husband and wife, they're newly together, how are they in aligned agreement or not? That's something I think AI is going to have a little bit of a harder time doing at this point.
Absolutely. No, I think it's going to definitely have a harder time doing the EQ. So one thing which I tell my students, and I tell people who ask me this question about AI, is that yes, the IQ, the intelligence is coming from these machines.
Right.
These machines have processed so much data that they've read thousands and thousands of books and the reports.
Right.
They can give you the intelligence, but what you do with it is based on you.
Right.
So it's about having the EQ, the emotional intelligence, to understand what are the minute changes you need to make to stand out. It's like everybody's going to have information. We are living in the age of intelligence. Everyone will have access to the same information. But how do you use that information to make sure you provide that extra touch to your customer?
Right.
That deeper sense of nuisance that the machine cannot pick up, that only you can pick up. So I think that's what makes you stand out.
Do you see a world in which AI actually starts to take that information from people? And let's say you say, hey, I'm working with X, Y, and Z person, and that AI is able to have if they're, let's say they're using the same platform, do you see a world in which AI could actually start to define, hey, here's what I see on this person and this person, here's how to approach that person, or how to have that conversation?
It can have that effect only if you ask the right questions.
Right.
So you can give the same information to two different realtors.
Right.
One can go deeper and actually make it unique. The other might not.
Right.
It's like giving a question to a student. There'll be two different answers because they're asking the different questions. So it's all about how curious you are to solve the problem.
Right.
And how you solve the problem. So it is about going back to understanding, are you just going to copy paste what AI is going to give you to hand it to your customer?
Right.
Or you're actually going to go deeper to really understand what my customer truly wants to create that unique experience. And I love what you said earlier. You said, customers hire me for being an advisor. It's not just an agent,
Right.
It's an advisor. So tell me why customers hire you as an advisor and not just, another resource.
I was thinking about this today, where when we get our license, it says we're a licensed associate salesperson,
Yeah.
right? And I think the term salesperson is actually one of the biggest misnomers for real estate people, especially once you reach a certain level. Like everyone's always asking me, how do you get into luxury? How do you work in luxury? And so everyone sees the dollar signs and wants to work there. And I literally yesterday coming here to this hotel, I remembered that the first time I went to the Fairmont Kealani in Hawaii, and a day after we arrived, walking down the hall, one of the housekeepers came out, and we were probably like 20 steps away from our room, so there were multiple doors. But she knew who we were, and said hello to both of us, my partner and I at the time, and if there's anything you need, let me know. And I just remember that ability to make a total stranger in your hotel feel special means that the work that went behind the scenes was that they had to have somehow she must have gotten a sense of who we were, who was the room under, which room did we come from. I think it's that level of detail and that level of focus and attention to detail that matters. So people hire me for discretion, for analytics. I've been hired, for example, I work in the New York market, but I've had business managers hire me to check out another market completely. And say, we have a client looking to buy something at this price point or sell something at this price point. What do you think? And it's because I can take the data and look at it, break it down, spend 14 hours if I need to. And again, using AI later today, look at the sub-market, look at the micro-market, and understand what's really happening in that market and tell them honestly, like, I think your client's going to overpay or they're asking too much. And it's coming without fear. It's coming without attachment to the outcome. It's coming from a position. I think the misnomer of sales is you're trying to sell something and you're trying to receive compensation for that sale. And from the consumer side, you are simply someone who's looking for your pocket. And we all know that brokers are not that. Brokers actually care enough to care about someone and spend 8 months of their life or 6 months of their life working with someone and never get paid if they walk away. Yeah. So we don't charge by the hour for that reason because we're committed to the long-term goal. But I think we have to shift our approach from just being salespeople to advisors, and that means we have to actually get it deeper into the knowledge, get an understanding and have a take, and be willing to say, this is what I think is going on here, and here's the risk to you, because the risk means they might not buy it. And so my clients hire me as much to tell them why not to buy something as why they should buy it. And I think that's the differentiator in a big part, is that I literally would get hands down into it. I don't get errors. I don't have egos. I collaborate with their teams and work with the multiple people that they have on their teams to make sure the sales happen or they don't happen. I would say I'm a pilot in the process, not just the bystander. So a lot of times in New York, we're in a lawyer market.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you get to an accepted offer, a lot of people might say, hey, it's on the lawyers now.
Yeah.
I'm like, be the pilot of every deal that you work on so that you're seeing all the pieces and you're kind of acting like a producer to make sure you understand and anticipate hurdles before they happen, make sure they go away, let people know that this is what I anticipate. I've seen it where I've had a very high-end client buying something, and my anticipation was that the research I did told me who the client was, and I was able to say, before we even start this process, expect that when you're ready to sign a contract, they're going to ask for another $1 million. So let's temper how we offer based on that, because I can sense and that's exactly what they did. So when that happened, they weren't surprised.
That's wonderful. And I think what I'm taking away, and what I hope everybody who's listening takes away, is it's not just about having the knowledge, because we can get the knowledge from the computers, What matters is really being the pilot, being the conductor of the orchestra, understanding how the music is being played. Where is the deal coming from, but really truly caring like in your example, that the housekeeper in the hotel knew that you were coming in for which room.
Right.
And you felt that they cared enough to say hello and recognize you.
Right.
And I think that's what the essence of, in the age of intelligence, is where the humans are going to excel.
Yeah, 100% agree. And because if everything does become computerized, right now it's a novelty for us. At some point, if you look at, for example, I love to do photography and on the side. We went from analog to digital.
Yep.
And what do you see now young people doing? They're all going back to film.
Yes.
Because there's this sort of over-processed feel in the digital world. And I think that's really, that marries really well with that. Because right now, this is all novel, but at some point people still want that human touch. And they want to know they're being taken care of. And I think there's a premium on the level of service that you're going to get from, if you're a salesperson, you're here. If you're an advisor, you're here. And so how do you harness the knowledge, to your point, to deliver it in a way that actually makes it work for the client?
I love that. Thank you so much, Tony,
for being
here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I love this conversation. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation, because it is about, the essence is to make sure that you make your client feel special. In the age of AI, you're going to have abundance of intelligence. You're going to have tools in your toolkit that will be AI and machines. But how you use that toolkit, yes, the machines are going to give you the IQ, but having that presence, the EQ, making sure that you care enough for your customers, for your clients, be the advisor, not just a resource. Come show up to make sure that the deal goes through from the beginning till the end, and have that special touch. In the age of intelligence, being human is your advantage. Thank you so much for joining Intelligent Luxury. See you next time.